I want you to bring your absolute, undivided attention to the profound sense of physical and emotional exhaustion that is currently living deep inside the marrow of your bones. This is not the simple, natural tiredness that comes at the end of a long, productive day of physical labor. This is a heavy, chronic, spiritual fatigue. It is the agonizing exhaustion of a human being who has spent their entire adult life desperately swimming directly against a massive, invisible riptide. In the frantic, highly aggressive culture of the modern world, we are deeply conditioned to believe that we must violently force the universe to hand us the things we desire. We genuinely believe that love, massive financial success, and profound internal peace are highly evasive prey that we must aggressively hunt down, capture, and lock inside a heavy iron cage. And so, you spend your days violently thrashing in the water. You aggressively chase romantic partners who clearly want to pull away, sacrificing your basic human dignity just to force them to stay. You exhaust your physical body, working endless, soul-crushing hours to force a specific career door to open, even when every single sign from the universe is loudly telling you that the door is firmly locked. Think about the physical sensation of swimming directly against a powerful ocean current. You are putting an absolutely massive amount of kinetic energy into the cold water. You are violently swinging your heavy arms, you are desperately kicking your tired legs, and you are gasping for oxygen until your lungs burn with a sharp, terrifying pain. You are putting in a heroic, devastating amount of effort. But if you were to stop for just 1 second and look at the distant shoreline, you would realize a profoundly tragic truth. You have not moved a single inch forward. Your violent, exhausting effort is merely keeping you paralyzed in the exact same painful position. What we fail to understand in our deeply terrified state of mind is that the frantic, panicking energy of desperate control is actually the ultimate repellent. When you chase a person, an opportunity, or a specific timeline out of pure, unadulterated terror, you are violently broadcasting a loud, undeniable signal of absolute scarcity to the universe. You are vibrating with the frantic energy of someone who believes they are not enough. And that terrified energy pushes the exact things you deeply desire further away from your reaching hands. You are entirely trapped in the devastating illusion of the rowing oar. You genuinely, deeply believe that if you put the heavy wooden oars down, if you stop violently splashing and fighting the heavy water for just one afternoon, you will instantly sink to the dark bottom of the ocean and drown. You have completely mistaken your exhausting, frantic panic for actual, meaningful progress. To completely dissolve this terrifying illusion and to learn how to finally drop the heavy oars, we must look to the profound, ancient wisdom of the Taoist philosopher Chuang Tzu. Thousands of years ago, he told a breathtakingly beautiful story that perfectly captures the supreme intelligence of surrendering to the natural flow of the universe. It is the story of the Gorge of Lü, a place where a massive, violently powerful river plunged thousands of feet over a towering cliff, creating a terrifying, churning waterfall. The water at the dark bottom of the falls was so incredibly violent, so deeply chaotic, and so aggressively turbulent that absolutely no living creature could survive it. It was completely known that even the strongest fish and the most resilient river turtles would be instantly crushed by the immense, downward pressure of the white water. One afternoon, the great sage Confucius was standing on the high bank of the river, looking down into the terrifying, chaotic gorge. Suddenly, to his absolute horror, he saw an old man plunge directly into the violent, churning water. Confucius immediately panicked. He ordered his disciples to run down the steep, rocky banks as fast as humanly possible, absolutely certain they were about to pull a broken, lifeless body out of the terrifying current. But as they frantically rushed down to the edge of the dark water, a miracle occurred. The old man emerged from the violent churning foam completely and entirely unharmed. He calmly waded out of the freezing river, deeply relaxed, quietly humming a gentle song, and the water simply rolled off his peaceful shoulders. Confucius was completely stunned. He approached the old man and desperately asked him, "How did you possibly survive the deadly gorge of Lü? Do you possess some massive, secret, magical power? Do you know a specific, aggressive physical technique to fight the heavy water?" The old man simply smiled a gentle, quiet smile and shook his head. He looked back at the violently churning waterfall and said, "I have absolutely no secret power. I simply survive because I accommodate myself to the water, and I do not demand that the water accommodate me. When the heavy, massive current aggressively pulls me down into the deep darkness, I do not fight it. I go down with the water. And when the natural, intelligent current violently swirls and pushes upward, I simply allow it to carry me to the surface. I follow the true way of the water, and I completely refuse to impose my own." This ancient, breathtaking story holds the absolute, ultimate secret to surviving the terrifying, heavy moments of your own life. When the universe suddenly pulls you under, when a massive 10-year relationship suddenly collapses and completely shatters your heart, or when a deeply held financial plan completely falls apart and leaves you in the terrifying dark, your immediate panicked instinct is to violently fight the downward pull. You aggressively thrash your arms. You desperately try to control the uncontrollable outcome, and you completely exhaust your vital oxygen fighting the immense weight of the grief. But if you violently fight a massive downward current, you will absolutely drown in your own exhaustion. The Tao teaches you to take a slow, deep breath and do the bravest, most terrifying thing a human being can possibly do: absolutely nothing. You must completely surrender your rigid, heavy body to the profound reality of the loss. You must allow the heavy sadness, the terrifying uncertainty, and the profound grief to pull you down into the dark, trusting with absolute, unshakable certainty that the universe is not trying to kill you. The current that pulls you down is the exact same intelligent current that will naturally, effortlessly push you back up to the beautiful, warm sunlight. If only you stop aggressively fighting its perfectly calibrated physics. You do not need to fight the heavy water of your life. You simply need to let it carry you. When we finally emerge from the terrifying, dark water of our deepest losses, completely unharmed and breathing the cold, clean air of our own survival, we are fundamentally changed. We begin to understand the profound, liberating truth that our frantic, aggressive interference was never actually saving us. But to fully integrate this ancient wisdom into the mundane, frustrating moments of our daily lives, we must confront the absolute core of Taoist philosophy. We must deeply understand the brilliant, seemingly impossible paradox introduced by Lao Tzu, the practice of Wu Wei. The ancient text of the Tao Te Ching boldly declares, "The Tao does nothing, but leaves nothing undone." To the deeply conditioned, heavily anxious modern mind, this sentence sounds like absolute madness. We have been aggressively taught that if we do not constantly sweat, bleed, manipulate, and force our reality, we will end up with absolutely nothing. We wrongly equate the profound spiritual stillness of Wu Wei with apathy, laziness, and tragic defeat. But Wu Wei is the exact, complete opposite of apathy. It is the absolute highest, most sophisticated form of spiritual and energetic intelligence. It is not the act of sitting passively in a dark room, waiting for the sky to magically open and drop your desires directly into your lap. Wu Wei is the profound, magnetic state of unforced action. It is the absolute, unshakable courage to completely stop forcing the heavy doors of your life that clearly do not want to open. I want you to think very closely about a specific situation in your life right now, where you are desperately, exhaustingly trying to force an outcome. Think about the person you are constantly sending frantic, heavy text messages to, desperately trying to force them to recognize your fundamental worth. Think about the massive, desperate energy you are spending, trying to rigidly control how other people perceive your success. You are aggressively vibrating with the exhausting, desperate frequency of need. I want you to vividly imagine what would happen if you simply stopped. What would happen if, tonight, you placed your heavy, glowing phone quietly on the wooden table, stepped back, and absolutely refused to send that desperate message? The frightened, heavily conditioned ego will immediately scream at you. It will loudly warn you that if you stop chasing, the person will forget you entirely, the opportunity will instantly vanish, and you will be left completely alone in the terrifying silence. But the ancient, quiet wisdom of the Tao reveals a breathtakingly different reality. When you finally stop chasing, when you completely withdraw your frantic, desperate, grasping energy from a situation, you do not create a permanent, lonely void. You create a massive, profound, and highly attractive energetic gravity. You must understand the profound physics of the natural world. A massive, ancient stone mountain does not frantically rip its heavy roots from the deep earth to aggressively chase the rain clouds across the sky. The mountain completely understands its own immense, unshakable worth. It simply rests in a state of absolute, breathtaking stillness. And because of the massive, undeniable gravity of that quiet stillness, the clouds naturally, effortlessly gather around the high peaks to deliver the heavy rain. When you violently chase the things you want, you are actively pushing them away with the terrifying wind of your own desperation. But when you anchor yourself deeply into the solid ground of your own self-worth, when you become completely still and absolutely at peace with the present moment exactly as it is, you become the mountain. The profound peace you cultivate by completely refusing to force outcomes acts as a massive, invisible magnet. When you truly, deeply accept that you do not need to aggressively manipulate the universe to be safe, your entire nervous system beautifully relaxes. The tight, agonizing knot in the center of your chest slowly unties itself. You begin to emit a frequency of absolute, quiet abundance. And it is in this exact, specific state of unforced, peaceful gravity that the universe finally has the clear, unobstructed space to deliver exactly what you actually need. You must fundamentally realize that what is genuinely, inherently meant for you does not require an exhausting, bloody, tear-filled battle to secure. The deep, profound love that belongs to you will not require you to constantly beg for basic human decency. The exact right path for your specific life will not violently resist your every single step. It will recognize the quiet, grounded gravity of your peace, and it will naturally, effortlessly gravitate toward your open, ungrasping hands. When we finally experience the profound, grounding gravity of becoming the mountain, we must inevitably confront the deep, terrifying psychological root of why we were frantically chasing in the first place. To navigate this fourth, deeply revealing current, we must look directly at the absolute delusion of ownership. The highly conditioned, frightened human ego is fundamentally terrified of the natural impermanence of the universe. It looks at the beautiful, constantly shifting flow of reality and it panics. Because of this deep-seated terror, we have falsely convinced ourselves that the only way to feel truly safe is to permanently own everything around us. We treat profound romantic love, massive career success, and even our own fleeting moments of internal peace as physical, tangible objects that we must aggressively acquire, tightly control, and permanently lock away inside a heavy, impenetrable iron vault. We genuinely believe that if we cannot forcefully bind a person to us, or if we cannot rigidly guarantee the exact outcome of our future, we are completely destitute. To understand the immense, devastating tragedy of this delusion, I want you to vividly imagine walking through a dense, ancient forest and suddenly discovering a breathtakingly beautiful, fast-moving river. The water is crystal clear, shimmering with bright, golden sunlight, and the sound of the current effortlessly rushing over the smooth stones fills you with an immense, profound sense of peace. You step into the cool water, and you feel absolutely wonderful. But then, your terrified ego begins to whisper in your ear. It loudly tells you that you must absolutely secure this water so that it can never, ever leave you. So, in a state of frantic panic, you run to the muddy shore, you grab a massive, heavy iron bucket, and you aggressively scoop up as much of the beautiful river as you can possibly carry. You drag the heavy bucket far away from the forest. You place it securely inside a dark, locked room in your house, and you finally breathe a sigh of heavy relief, completely convinced that you now permanently own the beautiful river. But when you walk into that dark, quiet room a few days later and look directly inside the heavy iron bucket, what do you actually find? You do not find the beautiful, sparkling, singing river. You find a stagnant, lifeless, profoundly depressing pool of dead water. By violently removing the water from its natural flowing current, by trying to permanently trap it inside a rigid, heavy cage of ownership, you completely destroyed the exact, specific magic that made it so beautiful in the first place. This is the exact, tragic violence we commit against our own lives when we completely refuse to practice Wu Wei. When you aggressively try to force a human being to love you, when you tightly suffocate a relationship with your own terrified insecurities, or when you rigidly demand that your specific career path looks exactly like the artificial blueprint in your mind, you are violently scooping the water into an iron bucket. You are killing the vital, living spirit of the experience by desperately trying to possess it. The ancient, quiet teachings of the Tao desperately want you to understand that true, profound abundance is never a physical possession. It is a beautiful, unforced alignment. The deeply meaningful relationships that are actually meant for you, the profound opportunities that will actually fulfill your spirit, and the deep peace you are desperately seeking are not property to be violently captured and locked away. They are massive, beautiful currents of weather meant to wash over you. You cannot physically own the rain, but you can stand quietly in the open field and allow it to completely nourish your tired, thirsty roots. You cannot own a human soul, but you can walk beautifully and peacefully beside them, for as long as your two paths naturally, effortlessly align. To master the art of not forcing, you must execute a massive, profound shift in your internal identity. You must completely stop viewing yourself as a desperate, starving hunter aggressively chasing your prey through the dark woods. You must permanently drop the heavy weapons of manipulation and control. Instead, you must become the quiet, deeply patient gardener. The gardener does not stand in the open field and violently scream at the dark dirt, aggressively demanding that the hidden seeds grow faster. The gardener simply focuses entirely on preparing the rich, heavy soil. You must pull out the toxic, suffocating weeds of your own deep insecurities. You must gently water the ground of your own self-worth. And then, you simply step back and rest, trusting with absolute, unshakable certainty that because you have prepared the environment perfectly, what is naturally meant to grow in your garden will effortlessly, beautifully find you in its exact, perfect season. As we enter the fifth and final current of our quiet time together, we must completely integrate this ancient, liberating philosophy directly into the profound physical reality of your tired body. We have witnessed the terrifying exhaustion of swimming blindly against the massive riptide, and we have learned the supreme, life-saving secret of the old man surviving the violent Waterfall of Lü. We have understood the profound, unshakable magnetic gravity of the uncarved block, and we have completely surrendered the toxic delusion that we must capture and lock the flowing river inside a heavy iron bucket. But understanding these concepts intellectually is entirely different from the physical, terrifying act of total surrender. To truly master the art of Wu Wei, to truly trust that what is meant for you will eventually find you, you must physically let go of the heavy water. I want you to close your eyes right now and vividly imagine that you are completely alone in the absolute center of a vast, incredibly deep, and terrifyingly dark ocean at midnight. You have been desperately, violently treading water in this exact same spot for hours, days, perhaps even for years. You are completely terrified of the dark depths beneath you. Your heavy arms are burning with a sharp, agonizing lactic acid. Your legs are cramping from the constant, frantic kicking, and your lungs are desperately gasping for tiny sips of cold air. You genuinely believe that the exact second you stop violently fighting the massive ocean, you will instantly sink into the suffocating darkness and disappear forever. Your entire existence has been reduced to this exhausting, frantic panic just to keep your chin barely above the freezing water. But right now, in the absolute quiet safety of this specific moment, I am asking you to do the most terrifying, profoundly courageous thing that a heavily conditioned human mind can possibly imagine. I want you to stop kicking your exhausted legs. I want you to drop your heavy, burning arms completely to your sides. Let go of the rigid, agonizing tension in your neck, and simply lean your head all the way back into the freezing, dark water. Expose your vulnerable chest entirely to the massive, glowing expanse of the silent night sky. And as you finally stop fighting the ocean, I want you to notice a breathtaking, absolutely miraculous physical reality. You are not sinking to the bottom. The exact moment you stop aggressively fighting the water completely changes its relationship with you. The immense, ancient density of the massive ocean is naturally, perfectly rising up to gently hold the entire, heavy weight of your tired bones. You are floating. You are being entirely supported by an intelligence that is infinitely older and vastly stronger than your tiny, exhausted human ego. Notice the profound, sudden rush of relief flooding through your aching muscles. Notice how incredibly deep and slow your breathing becomes now that you are no longer violently struggling to survive. You do not need to constantly fight the universe just to justify your right to exist. You are allowed to completely rest on the surface of your own life. You do not need to violently row the boat to a highly specific, rigidly controlled destination. You do not need to furiously paddle upstream to force a person to love you, to force a deeply incompatible career to work, or to frantically secure a future that is entirely unwritten. The massive, beautiful current of the Tao knows exactly where the vast ocean is. It knows exactly how to perfectly navigate the sharp rocks and the heavy waterfalls. All you have to do is float quietly on your back, look up at the vast, peaceful sky, and trust the absolute, unshakable guarantee of the universe. What is genuinely, inherently meant for you is already floating gracefully downstream to meet you. It will not miss you. It will not pass you by because you were resting. It will find you exactly when you are finally peaceful enough to receive it. If this quiet sanctuary has offered your exhausted mind a moment of genuine, profound physical relief today, I warmly invite you to subscribe to our channel. We are carefully building a peaceful, unhurried refuge here, a completely safe place to rest your heavy heart, far away from the screaming demands of the modern world. Before you close this video and step gently back into the natural, beautiful flow of your day, I have one final simple request for you. Please leave a comment below. Tell me, using just a few quiet words, what is the heavy, exhausting wooden oar that you are finally dropping into the water today? Naming the profound struggle you are surrendering is the absolute final step in letting the current carry it away. Drink a large glass of cool water. Roll your tired shoulders back. Unclench your jaw. Breathe deeply. You are completely safe to float.